Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, winds howling, rain pouring, chaos all around. Some people get swept away. Others stand firm. What makes the difference? It's not strength. It's not luck. It's mindset. The world throws uncertainty at us every day. Failed plans, unexpected challenges, moments of doubt, and yet some people remain unshaken. They have something others don't. They have an unbreakable mindset. Today, we're going to talk about what it takes to develop that mindset, one that keeps you centered no matter what. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, winds howling, rain pounding, chaos all around. Some people get swept away, some scramble for shelter, and a few, they stand firm, not because they are stronger, but because they are anchored. Their foundation is deep. That foundation is built on core values. Resilience doesn't start with sheer willpower or mental toughness. It starts with clarity. Clarity of who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for. When everything around you feels uncertain, when pressure mounts, and when circumstances test your patience, your core values act as a guiding force, reminding you of what truly matters. Think about the most resilient people you know, the ones who remain composed in a crisis, the ones who keep moving forward despite obstacles, the ones who don't just survive hardship, but come out stronger on the other side. What do they all have in common? It's not that they have an easier path or that they are naturally gifted at handling stress. It's that they have an unshakable sense of self. Core values are not just words you write down once and forget. They are the principles you live by, the beliefs that shape your decisions and the standards that define your actions. They serve as a filter, helping you distinguish between what is worth fighting for and what is merely noise. In moments of doubt, they give you direction. In moments of fear, they give you courage. And in moments of exhaustion, they remind you why you started in the first place. But here's the challenge. Most people never take the time to define their core values. They move through life reacting to circumstances instead of being guided by a deeper purpose. They let external pressures dictate their choices instead of having an internal compass that keeps them grounded. When adversity strikes, they waver not because they are weak, but because they lack the clarity that provides stability. To develop an unbreakable mindset, you have to know what you stand for before life tests you, because when the pressure is on, you won't have time to figure it out on the spot. Your brain will default to survival mode, looking for the quickest way out. But if your values are clear, if they are deeply ingrained in you, then they will lead your response. They will remind you that integrity matters more than shortcuts, that purpose is more important than comfort, and that doing what is right outweighs doing what is easy. Companies with strong values withstand economic downturns better. Relationships built on shared values endure hardships. Leaders who stay true to their principles inspire trust, even in times of uncertainty. This isn't a coincidence, it's a pattern. Core values create resilience because they provide something to hold on to when everything else feels like it's falling apart. And here's the thing, your values don't need to match anyone else's. They don't have to be trendy, popular, or even universally understood. They just need to be yours. They need to resonate so deeply within you that no external force can shake them. They need to be real enough that when life gets hard, and it will, you don't have to search for strength. It's already within you. Adversity doesn't weaken us. Our perception of adversity does. Think about the most successful leaders, athletes, and innovators in history. They didn't rise to the top because they avoided hardship. They got there because they embraced it. We are conditioned to see challenges as barriers, something to push against, something that slows us down or holds us back. But what if we flip that mindset? What if we stopped seeing obstacles as things that stand in our way and started seeing them as the way? Consider this, every major breakthrough in history was born from a challenge. Every great invention, every powerful movement, every game-changing idea, it all started with a problem. The airplane was invented because people refused to accept that humans were bound to the ground. The light bulb was created because someone saw darkness not as an inconvenience, but as an opportunity. The most resilient individuals don't look at difficulties and think, why me? They ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better? The truth is, growth only happens when we are pushed beyond our comfort zone. When everything is easy, we stay the same. We repeat what we know, we operate within our limits, and we never truly evolve. But when we face resistance, when things don't go as planned, that's when we're forced to adapt. And adaptation is where real progress happens. Take an elite athlete. They don't build strength by lifting weights that are easy. They get stronger by adding resistance, by pushing their muscles past their comfort zone, creating small tears that rebuild stronger than before. The same principle applies to the mind. Every challenge, every setback, every failure is a form of mental resistance training. The more we expose ourselves to it, the more resilient we become. Think about the last time something didn't go your way. Maybe it was a failed project, a missed opportunity, or an unexpected setback. What was your initial reaction? Frustration, disappointment, maybe even self-doubt? That's natural. But what if, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you looked for what you gained? Maybe you developed a new skill, learned a valuable lesson, or uncovered a weakness you didn't know you had. Maybe the failure redirected you towards something even better. Some of the most successful people in the world will tell you that their greatest achievements were born from their greatest failures. Walt Disney was fired from his first job for lacking imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs was kicked out of his own company. Imagine if they had let those setbacks define them. Instead, they used them. They saw rejection, failure, and hardship not as signs to stop, but as reasons to push forward. Reframing challenges isn't about ignoring difficulty or pretending that struggle isn't hard. It's about shifting perspective. It's about training your mind to ask better questions. What can I gain from this? How can this make me stronger? What new doors might this open? The most resilient people aren't the ones who avoid problems. They are the ones who welcome them, knowing that within every challenge there is an opportunity waiting to be uncovered. There are two kinds of problems in life, those we can control and those we can't. The problem is that most people spend the majority of their energy focused on the second category. We stress over outcomes we can't dictate, worry about people's opinions we can't change, and lose sleep over circumstances we have no power over. And in doing so, we drain ourselves of the energy we actually need to influence the things that are within our control. Think about how much time we spend worrying about the future. What will happen next month, next year, or even tomorrow? We play scenarios over and over in our heads, imagining every possible outcome, trying to predict and prepare for things that may never even happen. The irony is, the more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more out of control we actually feel. Because no matter how much we plan, how much we analyze, or how much we try to force a certain result, life will always have an element of unpredictability. Now, does that mean we should stop planning? Of course not. But it does mean we need to be intentional about where we direct our focus. Instead of obsessing over what might happen, we need to zero in on what we can do about it. Let's take an example from sports. A professional athlete has no control over the referee's calls, the weather conditions, or how their opponent plays. If they fixate on those factors, they will be distracted, frustrated, and ultimately ineffective. But what can they control? Their preparation, their effort, their mindset, the way they respond when something doesn't go their way. The greatest athletes in the world don't waste time complaining about bad calls. They adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. The same applies to business. Leaders who constantly react to market shifts, economic downturns, or industry changes without a clear sense of control end up in survival mode. But the most successful leaders, those who build businesses that last, are the ones who focus on what they can influence. They can't control the economy, but they can control their innovation. They can control competition, but they can control the value they provide. They can't control customer behavior, but they can control how well they serve their audience. Even in our personal lives, this principle is critical. We can't control how other people treat us, but we can control how we respond. We can't control what challenges come our way, but we can control how we let them shape us. We can't control the fact that time moves forward, but we can control what we do with the time we have. One of the biggest mental shifts we can make is learning to separate what is within our control from what isn't. Because when we do, we stop wasting energy on things that drain us, and we start channeling that energy into things that empower us. Think about any high-stress situation you've been in. Maybe it was a project that wasn't going as planned, a relationship that felt unstable, or a period of uncertainty in your life. If you felt overwhelmed, chances are you were focusing on factors outside your control. Maybe you were caught up in other people's opinions. Maybe you were trying to force an outcome instead of adjusting to reality. Maybe you were so focused on what wasn't working that you forgot to take action on what could work. Here's the thing, stress is not just about external pressure, it's often a result of feeling powerless. And the fastest way to take back power is to shift your focus. Instead of asking, why is this happening? Start asking, what can I do about it? Instead of worrying about all the things that could go wrong, ask yourself, what is one step I can take right now? Instead of obsessing over what other people are doing, ask yourself, how can I show up as the best version of myself, regardless of what's happening around me? This mindset shift doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending challenges don't exist. It means acknowledging reality without letting it dictate your response. It means recognizing that while you can't always choose what happens to you, you can always choose how you respond. And that choice, every single time, is where your power lies. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or strategize, things will always happen that are beyond our control. The market shifts, a project falls apart, someone we trust lets us down, a personal crisis blindsides us when we least expect it, and in those moments, we are faced with a choice. Do we waste our energy fighting what we cannot change, or do we focus on what we can? Most people spend far too much time and energy trying to control the uncontrollable. They stress over what others think of them, obsess over outcomes they can't guarantee, and worry about scenarios that may never even happen. This isn't just exhausting, it's counterproductive. When we fixate on things outside our influence, we give away our power. We let external forces dictate our emotions, our actions, and ultimately, our results. But the truth is, control is an illusion. No matter how much we wish we could control the world around us, the only thing we truly have power over is ourselves, our mindset, our actions, and our attitude. And the people who thrive in uncertainty, who remain steady under pressure, are the ones who master this mindset. They don't waste energy trying to control things they can't. Instead, they direct all their focus toward the things they can. Think about a pilot in the middle of a storm. They can't control the weather. They can't change the turbulence. They can't alter the wind speed or visibility. But they can control how they respond. They can focus on their training, their instruments, and their ability to navigate through the challenge rather than panic because they can't change the conditions. This is the key to resilience, not avoiding storms, but learning how to fly through them. The same principle applies in every area of life. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you respond. You can't control whether a company hires you, but you can control how prepared you are for the interview. You can't control what happens in the economy, but you can control your financial decisions. You can't control if someone else succeeds faster than you, but you can control how hard you work and how much you improve. The moment you shift your focus from what's outside your control to what's within it, everything changes. Stress levels drop, clarity increases, and you regain a sense of agency over your life. Instead of feeling like a victim of your circumstances, you become the architect of your own resilience. Instead of reacting emotionally to everything that happens, you learn to respond strategically. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that control means certainty, that if they just do everything right, life will go as planned. But control isn't about predicting the future. It's about preparing yourself to handle whatever the future brings. It's about being adaptable, staying grounded, and making the best possible decisions with the variables you have. And this requires discipline. It requires constantly reminding yourself to redirect your focus. When something goes wrong, instead of spiraling into frustration, ask yourself, what part of this situation can I influence? What action can I take right now that moves me forward? It requires being intentional about where you place your energy, choosing to invest it in solutions rather than in complaints, in actions rather than in worries. This also means letting go of perfectionism. Too many people hold themselves back because they are trying to control every detail, waiting for the perfect moment, fearing that if they make one wrong move, everything will fall apart. But in reality, perfection is just another illusion. The goal is not to control everything, it's to control the things that matter most. The greatest leaders, athletes, and high achievers understand this principle deeply. They don't waste time agonizing over things they can't change. They don't get paralyzed by fear or stuck in indecision. They focus on their preparation, their effort, their adaptability. They recognize that external events will happen, but they refuse to let those events define their response. Because at the end of the day, the people who thrive are not the ones who try to control the world. They're the ones who learn to control themselves within it. In a world obsessed with speed, instant gratification, and overnight success, the people who truly stand the test of time are the ones who understand the power of patience, the power of consistency, the power of thinking beyond today, beyond next week, beyond next month. They understand that real success, real lasting success, is not built in moments of inspiration, but in years of dedication. We live in a culture that rewards quick wins. Social media floods us with stories of people who made it overnight, and we are conditioned to believe that if we don't see immediate results, we're failing. We want the promotion now. We want our business to take off now. We want to see the benefits of our hard work immediately, and when we don't, we get frustrated. We quit too soon. We jump to the next opportunity, hoping it will give us what we're looking for. But the people who truly create impact, who build legacies, who achieve greatness, who become unshakable, are the ones who reject this short-term mindset. They don't focus on winning today, they focus on winning for a lifetime. Playing the long game means shifting your perspective. It means understanding that success is not about how fast you can get there, but how strong you build the foundation along the way. It's about making decisions based on where you want to be in 10 years, not just what feels good right now. It's about delaying gratification, sacrificing immediate comfort for long-term gain, and trusting that consistent effort will pay off, even when the results aren't visible yet. Look at the most successful businesses in the world, the ones that last decades, not just a few years. They didn't chase quick profits at the expense of sustainability. They didn't cut corners to get ahead in the short term only to collapse later. They invested in their people. They built cultures that could withstand change. They focused on long-term trust rather than short-term sales. The same principle applies to personal growth. The people who master their craft, who develop deep expertise, who become the best in their field, they don't do it overnight. They commit to learning, practicing, refining, and improving every single day. They don't measure their progress based on how far they've come in a month. They measure it based on the trajectory they're on for the next decade. Playing the long game also means embracing setbacks, because when you have a long-term mindset, failure doesn't feel like the end. It feels like part of the process. It's a lesson, a redirection, a necessary step toward growth. The people who struggle the most with failure are the ones who only think short-term. They see every setback as proof that they should give up. But the ones who play the long game, they see it differently. They understand that every challenge, every obstacle, every misstep is shaping them into something stronger. Think about physical fitness. If you go to the gym for a week and expect to see dramatic results, you'll be disappointed. If you work out for a month and don't see massive changes, you might feel discouraged. But if you commit to it for a year, for 5 years, for 10, the transformation is undeniable. Success is not about intensity. It's about consistency. The same is true for relationships. The strongest friendships, the deepest connections, the most successful marriages, they don't happen instantly. They're built over time through trust, through effort, through shared experiences. The people who struggle in relationships are often the ones looking for quick validation rather than long-term connection. They seek intensity over longevity, passion over partnership, but the ones who play the long game, they invest, they nurture, they understand that real relationships, just like real success, take time. Playing the long game also requires discipline, because the truth is, the rewards aren't always immediate. The benefits aren't always obvious in the beginning. And that's where most people struggle. They want proof that what they're doing is working. They want to see progress quickly, but the reality is, some of the most important work you'll ever do won't show results for months or even years. And that's where faith comes in. Not blind faith, but faith in the process. Faith that small efforts done consistently over time will compound into something significant. Think about an oak tree. When you plant the seed, nothing happens at first. Days pass, weeks pass, months pass. You water it, but it looks like nothing is changing. And yet, beneath the surface, the roots are growing. The foundation is being built. And then one day, the tree begins to emerge. Slowly at first, then stronger, then taller, until it stands unshakable. But none of that would happen if you stopped watering it too soon. The challenge is that most people give up before they see the results. They stop right before the breakthrough. They expect immediate success, and when it doesn't come, they assume they're failing. But those who play the long game keep going, even when they don't see progress, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because they understand that everything great takes time to build. The people who achieve lasting success, who build unshakable resilience, and who create real impact are the ones who embrace the long game. They don't chase quick wins. They build strong foundations. They let them short-term setbacks define them. They let them shape them. And most importantly, they trust that consistent effort, discipline, and patience will always pay off in the end. Because true success isn't about how fast you get there. It's about how well you sustain it once you do.